Okay, this is a redo to a video I did a few years ago talking about my time at Timberlawn Mental Hospital. I originally did a part two, but it was lost on my old Eric Kane channel after they false flagged my channel down because I made the mistake of not keeping a copy on, on my laptop just in case something like that happened, which it did. The so unfortunately the part two is lost in the algorithm in the archives of YouTube, and they're false flagging this. So I got to do this video part two all over again. Forgive me if I say some of the first things I said in my original video. Okay, well, anyways, like those 7 days that I was at Timberlawn, like I said, it felt like 7 weeks. Okay, the dude that I shared the room with, he was gone after my second day that I was there, and they replaced him with some dude that was some Hispanic dude that was all that tried to slice his cut his wrist, like he cut his wrist horizontally, which means he did that for attention. If he cut it vertically, he wouldn't have been there. He would have been dead. He would have been lying in a coffin somewhere. Well, anyways, he was so doped up that they had to keep tabs on him. Of course, I still had to share a room with him, but he had to sleep outside just because he was on suicide watch, and he was so doped up that he couldn't that he slept like 90% of the time, and the only time he answered he got up when it was time to eat or he got a phone call. Well, anyways, besides that, like they brought my parents and my brother there and asking them all these type of questions like do I have mental problems and blah 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 blah, and like they had a psychiatrist there that was asking me all these wanted me to specify what I meant by how I feel or if I'm suicidal and all that nonsense, because like the hospital that I was at before I went to Timberline, they deemed me to they said that I was homicidal and suicidal according to them. Anyways, they put me on some medicine. At that time, I was already taking seizure medicines for my seizures because I had epilepsy at the time. I don't take the medicine anymore because I was still having the seizures. But I digress. Anyways, around the third, fourth day that I was there, so a few of the people left, went home, and some of them was still there when I got there. When it was lunchtime or breakfast time, we had to eat with the people at Ward B. I was at Ward A, and the people at Ward B had to come and eat with us too. Now, see, the people at Ward B were far gone. They couldn't really think on themselves. You could still converse with them, but they was gone. They was like one step away from going to the nut house. It's a real wacky nut house in Terrell, Texas. Matter of fact, Jamie Foxx, the comedian Jamie Foxx, grew up in Terrell, Texas, and he lived right down the street from that crazy house. He said his biggest fear was ended up in that nut house, that loony bin. Well, anyways, it had like on side and on the B side, like I noticed one of the girls, it was this black girl, who had dark skin, short hair, kind of braided, who was always wearing who was always in a house coat. Come to find out, she said somebody asked what's wrong with her. She said she hears voices. I'm like, okay. Well, anyways, I know that same black girl, she was walking around, and when my parents came to come see me, and my dad, he noticed, he kept noticing this girl kept on walking behind him at the corner of his eye. He's like, man, first of all, I don't, yeah, I understand this is a mental hospital, but like the black girl keeps walking behind me. I don't know about that. Like, I didn't know if my dad was gonna hit her on impulse or not, because that was really starting to bug him. And it had another guy from the B side. He said, yeah, when I get out of here, I'm gonna run for president. When I get out of here, I'm gonna cook some potatoes. When I get out of here, I'm gonna kick a football. He would just be saying random stuff that really nobody's really paying attention to. But I was watching, observing all the stuff that was going on, And on the B side, I had another chick. She was always crying, no matter what. Like you walk by her, she started crying for no reason at all. And then, and of course, every other hour, they had group time. People would get together and talk about their problems and their issues, how they can resolve them. And I noticed, and another thing, I had it was a deaf guy that was there, a deaf guy. Like, of course, he had an interpreter there, but he didn't say anything. He was like. When he was talking through his interpreter, he said he was having problems with cocaine and drugs, and he was battling depression and bipolarism. 90% of the people that was in that place with me suffer from bipolarism. Well, anyways, of course, the cute white chick, who was cool as hell. They put her in a B ward because she got an attitude with one of the counselors. And I know she of course she was still I was sometimes look over to the B side. She be looking at the window, flicking her tongue at me. And well, my dad said, man, that girl cute, but she kind of crazy. And that the first time I heard my daddy say, he said the crazy girls got the best sex, and I totally believe him. I believe him 100%. He said crazy girls got the best sex, and of course of course she would still come over here and converse with us and chop it up, but then she had to go back to the B side. And on the fifth day there, I know it was this cool ass Hispanic dude. Who went in there? I spent most of my time hanging with that dude. He said he tried to kill him. He tried to get some attention by taking a knife and stabbing himself in the chest. And he showed me the staples that was used to stitch up the wound. He was cool as hell. I spent my time just hanging with him, and it had this Hispanic counselor. This Hispanic dude, he was a counselor, but he said I just got kicked out of the Marines because I beat the shit out of my commanding officer because I got a black friend that was in the Marines, and he called this dude a nigga, and I just cold cocked him, and he said that's the reason why he got kicked out of the Marines, and and they had and blah 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 yada yada yada, and then it had this, and I remember every night they were it would be like movie night. We would watch movies before we had to call it a night. Let's see, what movies were they had? It was Resident Evil, the third movie, if I'm not mistaken. The one where old girl is fighting Nemesis. It was that movie. It was Hellboy. Nobody that was my first time seeing Hellboy. Nobody wanted to watch it, but I did. And it had this older fat chick who was on the side with me. She always wanted to watch the news. Can we watch the news? Can we watch the news? Every time she'd be flicking her tongue for no reason at all, and she had gastric. And around that time, prior to going into Timberlawn, she had gastric bypass surgery, so she had all that loose skin just flapping around and whatnot. And one day we was eating hamburgers, cheeseburgers and hamburgers. If she got mad because they didn't let her get a cheeseburger. She wanted a cheeseburger. She said, no, you gotta get a hamburger for health reasons. She couldn't eat the cheeseburger, and she got mad about that. And because it would have affected her gastric bypass. And she like, what is this, prison? I'm like, it's what you making, ma'am. But she was so mad because she couldn't get a cheeseburger. I'm like, oh well, man. And also around that time, before hold up, around that time, he had this damn, we had this dude, hold up. He had this one dude, this older white guy. He started skitching and twitching for no reason at all. He was on the side with us, but it's every time he walked, it's like somebody he just be moving like he just got shocked by a taser or something, but I didn't know what was wrong with that dude. I didn't intend to find out. And besides that, before I was discharged, I met with the it was a police officer that was going to sign the papers for me to go. And when I was at the table playing with the puzzles, and he walked up, and I tried to shake his hand and said, no, I don't get up. And then he signed my discharge papers, and I was good to go. I was ready to go. And besides that, they had a public defender. They brought a public defender in there to talk to anybody who wanted to leave, who felt they was there too long. I'm like, shit, I felt like I was there too long because those 7 days went by so slow. That was the longest 7 days in my entire life. I've never, I've never experienced a week that went by so slow like I did with Timberlawn. Well, anyways, when I was on my way to be discharged, I found out I couldn't just leave on my own power. I still had to abide by that rule and stay there and wait for my parents to get there. Like it took my folks like an hour and a half just to get there, and they only live like a few miles away around the time. Like, hold on, yeah, they only live like 15 minutes away, but it took them like almost 2 hours to get there. I'm like, damn, man. Like they wouldn't, because they thought I was gonna try to hurt myself if they let me out on my own, which I wasn't. And man, I was pissed, and I was so glad to see them at that time. Freedom never felt so good. Freedom never felt so good. Like when I left Timberlawn. But then a week later, they tried to bill me. I forgot how much they billed me, but it was well over $100. I never paid that bill. I don't do hospital bills. And like, I'm like paying you motherfuckers. Oh shit! They could charge that to the game. I was gonna pay Timberline, but I found out around the time that committing suicide is illegal. But of course you can only charge somebody. You can only charge somebody if they survive, like I did. Well, that's my experience with Timberlawn Mental Hospital. Well, before I don't go, I want to address this one comment some lady had on my first channel. She told me, when you did 7 days, I did 2 years, and like they wouldn't let me go, because I was in there for 2 years. I forgot what she said while she was in there, and I really didn't care. But I'm talking about my experience. I know it's like anybody who did that, or prison or jail or whatever, have a different experience. And that was my experience at the Timberlawn Mental Hospital. I haven't been back since, and I never want to go back there ever again. But that's all I got to say about that. Thank you for listening.